Hello, everyone. My name is L.Vazquez, and I'm going to be reporting on my experience in a board meeting. I attended the Los Angeles Union School District board meeting personally on October 14, 2019. I decided to attend this board meeting at this school because I'm currently working there as a second grade teacher. So, the location of the board meeting was in the boardroom there in the school district. The address is 20951 Pavilion Way. We have a total of 279 students and serve TK to 8th grade. The name of our board president, is Jessica Ballesteros, and we have 4 elected board members, not including the superintendent nor the administrative assistant. The board members are required to meet at least once a month. Usually, they meet on the second week of the month. Usually on a Monday or Tuesday, or I think it's the third week. Sorry, because we met on the 14th, so it depends. So it's around there. But they do meet once a month. The board is required to address any personal information, reports of different facilities and students they are serving, anything to deal with curriculum, grants, that goes for finance, any finance topics, infrastructure. So these are the different topics they are required to address. The format of the meeting was just really straightforward. They had an agenda, and it just went off every little point there. So that was pretty cool, just straightforward. The meeting lasted about I want to say 50 minutes, briefly 50 minutes. So it didn't take that long. The atmosphere was really organized. It was really direct. It was a medium-sized room where it was quiet. Unfortunately, we didn't have any parents or any community people attending the board meeting, so I didn't get to experience that. We didn't have any parents commenting or making any comments about anything. So it was a really good experience. I've never been to a board meeting, so it was really interesting. In the beginning, when they started the meeting, it was just really confusing until I started like, okay, this is what they're doing. So I started following the agenda. So the format, sorry, let's go back to the format. So the format was really straightforward. They had an agenda. They began with a preliminary where they call to order. We do the flag salute. They do the adoption of the board agenda and the approval of the board minutes. Then they say any public comments. If none, then they continue. They do only limit 3 minutes per person to comment. So it's really short amount of time. Then they go behind doors for a closed session. I think that lasted about 50 minutes, I want to say. So they go and discuss about the different topics. For example, here they talked about letter of resignation for one employee. They talk about a public employee appointments. They talked about fall sports and coaches and advisors, just approving those and approval to reconvene into regular session. They then way back. And then they just went through the agenda. They approved any personnel that needed to be approved by them. Then they went ahead and approved any sports. Then they went to reports where different facilities in our school report about how many students they're serving. For example, we have Family Resource Center where we have preschoolers attending the facility, and right now they have a full class of 24 children attending that center, and then 18 children receive help at home. So it was just really cool getting that information. Then they do have a maintenance operation transportation report, but at that day they were absent. So the migrant education program reported on how many students they are serving. The nutrition services, they do a report on how many students they are serving, and we just received we just got a salad bar, so he just reported on how that's going. So then the assistant superintendent gets to report, the principal gets to report. So they all get to report on different things. For example, the principal reported on the different activities going on for the month, or the different assemblies that are going for the month. So it was really interesting that they get all the information. So also, the assistant superintendent got to report on things that are being approved, what grants we're receiving. We just got a big grant awarded, so that was pretty cool to hear about. Then if any board members have any comments or anything to report, then they would report something. In this case, they didn't have anything to report. Also, the chief administrative officer, he got to report on, which is the superintendent, he got to report on how the construction is going. So that's the infrastructure that they're required to address. So unfortunately, that's not yet to be completed. So it's still under construction. So then it went down to just different information that they were giving. And then they went to the discussion and action, where they start approving either curriculum. Just, for example, we just got approved for a social studies and history curriculum adoption, TK to fifth grade. And then My World by Pearson, that's the book we're going to be getting. And then 6th to 8th grade, they got the National Geographic. So that was pretty cool, because we've been waiting for this. So that's pretty awesome. Also, they got to approve consulting services contracts. So just personnel again. So just different things like that. And as it went down the list, it came up to the end where they adjourned the meeting. So it's just straightforward, following the agenda. So that was pretty cool. Now, my experience, it was a really good experience. I've never attended a board meeting. So just hearing all this information, it's all there. And if you attend a board meeting, you can get all this information and know about what's going on in your school district. So I think the most interesting part that I thought it was really interesting was where the different facilities in our school, or the different faculty staff report on. For example, the principal, when she reported the amount of students we had, she also reported we had 3 students move and the reasons why they move. So that I think that's really important. Why have the reason why students are moving. Also, just she gave information about what's going on throughout the month, and just the different grants that we're getting and different curriculum that's being approved. I think everything's really cool and just interesting to know what's coming, and just to be aware of. So it was a really good experience. For letter G, I went over that. Okay, so I think I went over that. So I just, just having this information in hand as a parent, because I do have a 4-year-old going to TK, and as a parent, I would like to know all this information. everything is there. If you attend a board meeting, you will get information. If you're upset about something, you can go and just comment and, let your voice be heard by them. So I just think this is really cool. And the fact that we're getting a social studies curriculum, that's the best part because we've been waiting for that. So yeah, that's my experience. The last question, most importantly, how do I relate this board meeting to our textbook or our discussions? Well, I really relate this board meeting to our textbook and discussion. Going to chapter 7, where it gives us information. The title is Governance and Finance Regulation and Funding Schools. Just the fact that all this information that we learned in this chapter is kind of like embedded in this board meeting. For example, how our where is it? How our school being funded? All those different grants that the assistant superintendent applies for. I mean, that's how we're being funded. That's how we're getting consultants. That's how we're getting mentors. So it's just, this information is there. So I thought that was pretty interesting that we got the chance to learn the terms here and know what they were supposed to do, what the board members are required to do, what the superintendent is required to do. And then just going to this board meeting and just seeing it there. Like, this is curriculum, finance, everything was in there. So I think it just really connected and it just gave me a visual of what's going on. And just to know that, what's being funded, what's going on in school. For example, for professional development, we as teachers meet at least once a month. And we talk about what we can do to help our students or what's going on. What do we need to do to help our students succeed in math and ELA? So, yeah, that's how I relate it. Chapter 7, it's the main one. And just, I guess, curriculum wise too. I know I don't recall the chapter, but just, the different curriculum that we use and how it needs to get approved by our board members in order to receive it. So, yeah. So, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll do the best of my knowledge to answer them. And have a good night.